What a wonderful day it is for us to be reading another sliver of this letter that Paul wrote to the church in Rome, where he's challenging them to recognize, the first major section of the letter was, hey, look, everyone needs Jesus. Jews need Jesus. Gentiles need Jesus. Men, women, everyone needs Jesus because all have sinned and fallen short of the glory of God. And it's through the grace of God that he provides for us this marvelous salvation. He says in chapter 6, shall we continue in sin that grace may abound? Of course not. How shall we who died to sin still live in it any longer? Don't you know that all of us who have been baptized into Christ have been baptized into his death? We've been buried with him and resurrected with him at our baptism, but it's the power of Christ. And then he goes on to shift his focus to the idea that we are members of one another. We have all been saved by God's grace through Jesus Christ. Jack Cottrell said, we're saved by grace through faith at baptism for good works. I really like that summary. And now Paul is challenging our thinking. We're not simply individuals, even though on Judgment Day we'll stand before the Lord individually. As we do life together in this community of disciples, we are members of each other, and he's using this illustration of a body. Therefore, the shoulder can't say to the knee, I'm more important than you are. I move the arm. Or the ear can't say to the nose, I'm more important than you are. Yet one member of the body cannot say to another member, I'm more important than you are. And we have members that are on display and members that are hidden. Some are just never seen, like the spleen or the stomach, well, you get the idea. The different members of the body work together as part of one body. And here in chapter 12 and verse 16, Paul says, be of the same mind toward one another. Do not be haughty in mind. Don't look down on someone else, but associate with the lowly. Do not be wise in your own estimation. Don't think more highly of yourself than you ought to think. We look at other people like we may think that the little toe on our body is one of the lowly members, and it probably is. But how important that is to our ability to walk. Every member of the body ought to be cared for with an equal value. Every person in the church family ought to be recognized as priceless. I just shared on my Facebook page, my personal page, the idea that how valuable you must be if Satan is relentlessly trying to pursue you, your soul, and the King of Kings laid down his life for your soul. How priceless you are. And that applies to everyone. So don't look down on someone you might think, a trash collector is a lowly job, where a Wall Street trader is a high job. He says, your perspective should not be, well, I'm better than you are, or they're better than I am. We ought to view each other as of equal value because Jesus died for each one of us. Therefore, we need to be humbling ourselves. I need to humble myself under the mighty hand of God, and at the right time, he will put me exactly where he wants me to be, at just the right time. If I'm humble, if my attitude is usable and teachable, then he, at just the perfect time, will put me where he wants me to be. He has outfitted me, he's trained me, he has carved and molded and shaped my character and my calendar so that I can be of the most use to him. And if we have that kind of an attitude, then we'll have story after story after story to tell of God's amazing grace as He expresses His love through us toward other people. So I'm excited about tomorrow, Sunday morning. It's Testimony Sunday. I'm looking forward to hearing wonderful stories of God's grace and His goodness. Until then, be reminded that God loves you. He always has and He always will, and there's nothing you can do that will change His love for you. And we love you too.